Hello everyone, and welcome to this ThomasWoodenRailway discussion on, it's not an engine, it's not a road vehicle, but yes, it is a station. Today we're going to take a look at the very rare Tidmouth Station. I think it was about 6 months ago that I saw an auction on eBay for a Tidmouth Station, and I looked and I could not believe that it actually existed. I had no idea up until this point that a Tidmouth Station was even in the Wooden Railway line. And so I did a little bit of looking around and I found a cheaper auction, and so here it is, the Tidmouth Station, the Wooden Railway rendition. So I don't know if you guys knew that there was a Wooden Railway Tidmouth. I didn't know for the longest time. And so before I begin, let me just go into a little bit of background of Tidmouth itself. In the railway series, you always see Thomas and Gordon and Henry running around the big station doing their different jobs. And in the TV series, it's known as Knapford Station, and it is Knapford Station in the TV series. But in the railway series, that station is actually Tidmouth, and for some reason when they rolled the series over into the television, they decided not to make it Tidmouth and they made it Knapford. But the good news is that Tidmouth Station still does exist in the railway series, or excuse me, in the TV series. One of the episodes that I can think off the top of my head where it's featured is Bulgy. It's a yellow station. It kind of looks like Knapford Station, but just not as big, and the walls are yellow. I believe Buzz goes through there. I know several episodes use Tidmouth Station, but guess what? There are also two other Tidmouth stations that are a little bit different. One of them is known as Lower Tidmouth, and the other one is known as Tidmouth Halt. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. I just thought I'd throw it out there because it's very interesting, because those are three stations with pretty close to the same name. Obviously not the same name, but pretty close. So let's take a look at this wooden railway model here, and as you can tell, this looks nothing like it does in the TV series, and it looks nothing like it does in the railway series. So this is a very peculiar model for sure. I'll take the green visor off. I call this the visor because it kind of is a visor. Well, let's take a look at this model itself. It has a really nice yellow plaque of Tidmouth right there, so you know exactly what station it is. This brick pattern is really unique. I like it. I think it's cool. It reminds me of autumn, just because those are some fall colors. Really cool. There's a window here that says tickets, so you can go there and get your tickets if you were traveling going to this station. And then the blue in these windows is really cool. I mean, you can obviously, it doesn't look like blue that you would see in the sky, but it almost looks like Ada, Jane, and Mabel blue, which is really interesting. And then the green doors there, those are a nice touch. Let's flip it around and show you guys the back. I like this map of Sodor right here. Anything that ties back to the island of Sodor, such as a map. There's even a map included on the Ellsbridge Station, so I knew about this. It's not the same map, but I just like that stuff. It just ties it back to its central theme. There are the doors, there are the windows. Nice bench, and pretty much the same, but it's just so interesting how you go from so much detail right here to just a plain block of wood right here. You know what? That's Thomas Wooden Railway for you. Just some very rare, or some very interesting and kind of hard to believe how they wouldn't add details on the sides here. It's so easy, but I guess they're just not into it. So to talk specifically about my model of Tidmouth, it's a little bit interesting. As you flip it over to the bottom here, you can see that there are some screws in it. And I mean, those are some pretty heavy-duty screws, and that's why this whole thing is held together. I believe Tidmouth, if you were to buy it new off of eBay, it would come in its individual pieces. So this roof would be a piece, this part would be a piece, this block would be a piece, and of course this visor would be another piece. So you're looking at 4 pieces, and then you would just put it all together, and then you wait until you're walking around your layout, and you hit it with your foot, and it all comes crumbling down like I do every other day with my Ellsbridge Station. But let's not dwell on that. So there are some screws in here, and that's what keeps it held together. My theory on this is that this was possibly used in a store. And the reason this version of Tidmouth Station, actually the only version of Tidmouth Station, but the reason why Tidmouth Station is so rare and hard to find is because it was only used in 2 sets to my knowledge. One was the Totally Tidmouth set, which featured, among other things, it was kind of a fold-out set. It was like the very early beginning to the Take and Play. It featured an orange rickety, among many other things. And then this Tidmouth Station was also featured in the 60th anniversary set that came with a Thomas with kind of with a smiley face, but it was a different type of smile, and it came with Henry, and it came with a bridge. And so that, to my knowledge, those are the only two sets that it's been used in, and that's why it's so hard to find. I mean, there have been many sets in the history of the Thomas Wooden Railway line, and the fact that it's only featured in two, that's why it's so hard to come by. So my theory is that this was probably used in the 60th anniversary set, and it was used in a store. If you ever go to your local Toys R Us, you'll realize that with the exception of the engines, everything is either bolted or glued down, because little kids come along and they'll tear everything apart, and the store employees don't want to spend hours putting it back together at the end of the day. So that's what they probably did. They bolted all this stuff together, and then they put glue on the bottom, and this was probably on a table like this, except it was glued down, and so a little kid would come along and he'd shake it, but he wouldn't run off with it. And so that's the main intent here, and that's what this residue is on the bottom here. So that's my theory, because I'm pretty sure, especially with Elsbridge Station, they wouldn't suddenly start putting screws in these to hold them together. So that's my theory on this, and there's really no way to hold this green visor in here. I can tell though, however, on this model that there's been glue used in that area right here. So the store employees probably did try to hold that green visor together, but it probably didn't last very long. So overall, it's a cool model. It's certainly for sure. I really like the color of the brick. It's interesting. It makes it stand out. On a scale of an A to an F, I'd probably give it a C, simply because it's a cool model, and one of my little personal quotas that I try to live by is, you know, to make your Thomas Wooden Railway layout good, you have to make it as realistic as possible. And one of those ways you can make it realistic is by having stations, because that's where the passengers get on and off, and that's, you know, that's the whole reason why you have a railway, is because there are stations and passengers need to get places. So that's one of the reasons why I got this, is because the more stations you can have, the better. I mean, I don't know how you could possibly go wrong with too many stations. The unfortunate part, and this is what really makes it a C quality product, is that there just aren't that many of them around. It'd be so cool to see, you know, a lot of users out there with a Tidmouth Station, but the problem is it's so hard to find that it's just not out there. And so, I mean, I haven't really seen this in anybody's series. I can't really tell you, you know, how it affects a wooden railway series, because I've obviously never used it in a wooden railway series up until this point. And so, I mean, I guess I'm giving it a C, but at the same time I'm also giving it some disclaimer, you know. It's a C simply because, I mean, it's almost Learning Curve's fault for not including it more stuff, because it's a really cool station. Should you get it? I think you should. If you see it on eBay, you definitely should, because like I said, the more stations you can have, the merrier. So that's the end to this Thomas Wooden Railway discussion on the Tidmouth Station. Like always, if you have any questions, comments, leave them below. If you have any concerns, which I hope you don't, please leave them below as well. I try to make these reviews as informative and as entertaining as I can. And so guys, I hope you have enjoyed this review on Tidmouth Station. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here next time.